Hello. I wanted to take 20 years of spiritual investigation and condense that down for you. Maybe save you some time. The Buddha taught that we can be free of suffering. And here's what that teaching is about. If you fell and broke a bone, the pain is real. It's the additional stuff, right? Like, oh my gosh, I won't be able to go to work. I won't be able to make money. How will I pay my bills? Right? Will I ever be able to walk normal again? What about all these things I wanted to do? I wanted to go for a hike or, how that just kind of nonstop um, mind. That's what you can be free of. So the pain will always be real, but it's the suffering part. By suffering, he means that additional unnecessary step. If the mind were quiet, you would be free of that. That's why everybody sits quietly and meditates for hours, for days, for years. The practice they were performing, and there's lots of them, but the most basic one, the initial practice everybody gets if you were to go in to one of these, is to sit quietly and watch the thoughts. Traditionally, you'll see them as if they're clouds, right? They come and they go, but they don't have any inherent value. You, I used to just watch them like they were TV, an entertaining TV show, and it could be quite humorous. After you engage in this for, you know, 7 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, and an hour a day, up to a couple hours a day, the mind will start to go quiet. And it can be entertaining to see what thoughts come up, because inevitably you'll get a lot of thoughts that will do anything to get you to stand up and not sit there and allow the mind to go quiet. In a way, it has a life of its own, and it, it's almost like it knows that if you keep doing what you're doing, it'll go quiet. It wants to keep going. It can be very entertaining. Something happens after it's been quiet for a while. That's kind of the next step. Initially, it's just about allowing the mind to go quiet, and then you're free of suffering, right? This is the basic teaching. But the longer you go with the quiet mind, something happens. There's a You'll start to notice there's a kind of energy within the body. Until the mind is getting more and more quiet, a person may not notice the energy. And this is because when the mind's going nonstop, it uses the energy up. It's like you wake up with 100 of some sort of energy. You use it up all throughout the day, and at the end of the day, you're at zero and you just fall asleep because you got nothing left. But if you can go the whole day and use like 99 instead of 100, then the next day you wake up with like 101. Something is allowed to build up within because you don't use it all up. As as it starts to build up, you start to have more energy. Inevitably, what people do is they say, "I feel better," and then they clean the whole house, or they draw a bunch, or whatever your creative endeavor is. You go out and have a ton of sex, right? Whatever it is, and then you bring that energy level back down, right? And then you have to start over. People will do this for years, 10, 20 years, maybe never get to the point where they allow this to build up with inside. They just use up the energy. So the goal, if it were, or just the nature of what we are, that we have this energy body, is you want to allow it to grow, right? So as the mind becomes quiet, you start to feel this energy within the body. There's a energy system you'll notice. It works a little bit like a garden hose that has some dirt in it. As you put water through it, the dirt will loosen and clear out of the hose. It's kind of like that. We have energy systems where the energy can move around, and the dirt is like stuck emotional states. They are in there, and as you sit quietly and allow the mind to go quiet, they get released out of the body, which is good. Uh, the body will take something like a bicycle wreck when you're young and hold the muscle to protect you. And after the wreck, it's still doing it. If there's never like a signal that it's okay and to release it, it'll just hold it. And that muscle takes energy. So through this process, that gets released and you get a little bit more energy back. So this happens a lot of times and you start to feel better. As the energy builds up, there are energy centers, which you can read about in a lot of 101 level books. It's like they need enough energy to function and come to life. And if the energy level is never allowed to build up, like it builds up and then you just go have sex, it builds up, you just stay up all night. That energy might never get to your heart, right? Your heart, for some reason, it loses the energy. Maybe you had some event in the past, kind of shuts down. It may never come back to life until this energy builds back up. So the energy starts to build back up. These different energy centers come to life. You start to function more at the capacity that your body and your energy body are essentially designed to function as normal, as long as you're not uh, taking away the fuel, as it were. Your experience of the world will change as this energy level builds up. So that's the basics. If you go into any of these traditions, they're going to have you quiet the mind and allow the energy level to build up. They'll have to adjust those behaviors that you do when you're feeling awesome, which use up all the energy and force you to have to start over. And this can be it. That could be all you do, is you follow those steps, and you'll be running at full capacity, and life will be better. Inevitably, most people are not running at their normal capacity. This this world seems designed to notice if you have a little bit of that extra energy built up, and someone will sell you something or give you an activity to use up that energy. So it is kind of a kind of club that you become part of. There are a lot of traditions that pass this down from father to son, and they don't tell anybody. There are additional steps, and I'm not sworn to secrecy, so I can tell you these.